Divinely revealed. The miraculous truth of your sacred purpose is now confirmed after 40 days. In the heart of Willowbrook, where cobblestone streets glistened like jewels in the soft morning light, lived Emma, a devoted mother of 3. Her days were colored by the laughter and spirited chatter of her children and shadowed by the gnawing worry of financial struggles. Yet every evening, as sunlight waned, she found solace within the walls of St. Andrew's Chapel. There, quiet prayers danced like whispers of hope, reaching up toward a higher plane, seeking strength and clarity for her journey. One fateful Sunday, the village pastor, with his passionate voice echoing through the sacred space, proclaimed a powerful prophecy. Your purpose will be revealed after 40 days of dedicated prayer. The energy in the chapel crackled like lightning. Many were stirred, but Emma felt a divine urgency ripple through her soul, a nudge from heaven. The first week passed and miracles began to unfold. Each morning, light spilled through her windows like liquid gold, enfolding her family in a gentle embrace. A feeling of warmth and peace settled over her as she prayed. The children, their hearts innocent and open, joined her, their laughter an offering of joy to God. Each prayer felt like seeds planted in fertile soil, waiting to bloom into something magnificent. As days turned into weeks, challenges emerged like tempestuous storms. Her eldest son, Daniel, rebelled against the very faith that Emma clung to. Dark clouds gathered as unexpected bills threatened to flood their fragile home. Doubts whispered in the corners of her mind like sinister shadows. What if nothing changes? The village buzzed with skepticism, and the flicker of doubt threatened to snuff out her flame. Each night, she knelt, trembling, but still she prayed. Then, in a miraculous turn, hope erupted from the ashes. Mrs. Thompson, Maddie, the beloved neighbor with dwindling days, was revived during a communal prayer circle. The sight of her, vibrant and filled with life after being given mere months to live, sent waves through the congregation. Gasps echoed in the chapel and a cacophony of joyous cries erupted, washing away doubt. The villagers returned to St. Andrew's, united in faith, hearts brimming with renewed expectation. As the final day approached, Emma's spirit began to fray. She fell into a restless slumber under the weight of uncertainty, her heart aching for clarity. In her dreams, an ethereal figure beckoned her, revealing lush gardens teeming with blooms like joyful revelations. But just as quickly as the vision unfolded, the weight of doubt descended like a storm cloud, casting shadows over her thoughts. What did this mean for her and for the village she so dearly loved? The dawn light bathed her face, yet left her anxious and awake. With the morning light streaming through her window, Emma stepped into the day unsure if her dream was a divine call or a mere figment of hope. As the villagers flocked to St. Andrew's, the air sang with anticipation. Silence reigned until the pastor boldly asked, "What does God want from us when our faith is tested?" Emma's heart raced. In that moment, she knew her answer could ignite the spark of transformation for her family and the village. Would she rise to embrace her divine calling, or yield to the gales of fear and uncertainty? The weight of expectancy hung in the air, waiting, aching for the miraculous to unfold. From the depths of her heart, a gentle fire flickered. Emma felt the weight of it all, not just her worries, but the hopes of those around her. The congregation watched her, their eyes filled with trust, believing she had the words that could guide them through their trials. In that moment, doubts faded and clarity rushed in. With every heartbeat echoing in her chest, Emma rose. "When our faith is tested," she began, her voice steady, "we must remember that every trial is an invitation to deepen our relationship with God. Each struggle can become a vessel of growth." She watched as the faces around her brightened, their eyes glimmering with understanding. The pastor nodded, his approval affirming her courage. Encouraged, she continued, "Faith is not merely a shield against hardships. It is the very essence that transforms us from within." The words tumbled out with newfound strength and purpose. If we lean into this challenge, if we dare to trust and seek Him, we will uncover the purpose that has been waiting for us all along. Gasps rippled through the chapel as Emma sensed in shifting presence. Divine peace enveloped her, and the congregation leaned closer, eager to absorb every syllable. Trust is a journey, my friends. It might feel like stepping into the unknown, but God walks with us in every uncertainty. Suddenly, Daniel rose, a frown etched on his young brow. "But what if it hurts?" he shouted, the vulnerability in his voice piercing through the air. "Why should we believe if it means suffering?" Emma paused, meeting his gaze. Her heart swelled with compassion. "Faith does not shield us from pain, Daniel. Instead, it guides us through it. One day we may look back and see how each moment of suffering shaped us, made us stronger, and drew us closer to God." Tears glistened in her eyes as she continued. "He turns our trials into testimonies. Just look at Mrs. Thompson." A murmur of agreement spread through the chapel like a healing balm, and little Daniel's brow unfurled slightly, pondering her words. At that moment, she felt it. A surge, a wave of divine energy that caused her heart to race, and she glanced upward as if she might glimpse something heavenly. "The day is dawning, dear ones," she exclaimed. "Our purpose is not just personal, it is woven into the fabric of our community. We are called to be the bearers of light for one another." The atmosphere thickened with reverence. Villagers knelt, whispering prayers, while a sense of electric anticipation filled the air. Then, images from the garden that danced in her dreams flooded her mind again. Vibrant flowers, each unique yet part of a greater tapestry, thriving under the warmth of the sun. Emma's spirit soared, realizing the truth spreading through her soul like petals unfurling. With her voice raised higher, she declared, "What if our story, every struggle and victory, is leading to a greater glory? What if our purpose is to be the light, to uplift each other amidst the darkness?" Can you imagine the miracles that await us? With each declaration, the congregation began to respond. Amens echoed, hands reached upward, and the walls of St. Andrew's seemed to vibrate with life. Emma felt her doubts wash away, leaving behind only belief and a deep sense of calling. As the service drew to a close, she knew this was only the beginning. The answers she sought were unfolding, revealing whispers of hope and promises woven into the very fabric of their lives. But a question lingered in her heart, one that resonated with every listener. What if the true miracle awaited beyond this moment? What awaited them all in the days to come as they ventured deeper in faith? The air crackled with expectation, and Emma took a deep breath, ready to step into the unknown. What divine revelations were waiting for them just around the corner? As the last echoes of amens faded into the cool evening air, Emma could still feel the vibrancy of the moment pulsing through her veins. The sun cast warm golden rays through the stained glass, illuminating the faces of the congregation. Each smile, each heart, seemed to resonate with newfound purpose, and Emma savored the powerful bond formed among them. But beneath her exhilaration lay a gentle tug of uncertainty. She couldn't shake the feeling that this was far from the end. It was merely the beginning of a greater journey. "Let's gather at the garden tomorrow," Emma proposed, her eyes sparkling as she looked at the eager faces before her. "Together we can share our stories, lift our burdens, and seek the Lord in prayer. There is beauty in community, and together we can discover the sacred whispers He has for each of us." Excited murmurs surged through the chapel, and Emma felt a warmth of belonging envelop them all. Hearts became woven together, each thread binding them closer, as they faced the unknown. They would take this leap together. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows as Emma made her way home, the laughter and chatter of the church fading into the distance. A sense of divine anticipation filled her. Each step felt lighter as the evening air cooled her skin. But as she reached home, fatigue washed over her, and she sank onto her porch, gazing at the stars emerging like scattered diamonds. Questions began to flutter in her mind. What tomorrow would unfold? What revelations awaited? As if in response to her pondering, a gentle breeze swept across her face, and she closed her eyes, surrendering to the calm sweeping over her. In that blissful moment, she felt a sacred presence, a reminder that she wasn't alone. The next day dawned bright, and the garden hummed with life. Wildflowers swayed, and the air was fragrant with hope. Villagers arrived, eyes filled with expectation, ready to share their experiences. It felt like a festival of faith. As they gathered, Emma noticed Mrs. Thompson, the widow who had faced great loss but radiated strength. The old woman stepped forward, her hands clasped together. "Emma," she called, her voice warm yet trembling. "I have something to share." Silence enveloped the group, all eyes now resting on Mrs. Thompson. Emma felt the electric charge buzzing through the air as she sensed that truth would soon be revealed. Mrs. Thompson continued, her voice gaining strength as she spoke about her journey through grief. "Each day felt insurmountable, but in the darkest moments I felt God's hand guiding me. I discovered love from unexpected places, a kind neighbor, a child's laughter. My pain transformed into purpose, helping others who walk the same road." The congregation leaned in, captivated. Each word was woven with threads of experience. Emma watched, moved, as the realization settled over her. Even the softest voices could carry profound truths. Then, it happened. A flicker of movement caught her eye, and she turned to see Daniel standing by the flower bed. He raised his little hand, eager to contribute. "Can I tell my story too?" he asked, his voice shaky but brave. "Of course, Daniel," Emma encouraged, her heart swelling. Daniel took a deep breath just as Mrs. Thompson had. "I thought God forgot me when I lost my dog. I cried for days. But then I found comfort in Mom's arms. We've been praying together. I realized my pain made me love harder." Gasps filled the air, reverberating with awe. In that moment, testimonies flowed freely. Pain transformed into joy, suffering into strength. Each shared story was a light illuminating the darkness, revealing how intricately their lives were woven together by divine purpose. As discussions swirled and hope blossomed like the flowers around them, Emma's heart raced with a mix of joy and expectancy. She felt the gentle pull of something greater, a roadmap laid out before them, enticing and mysterious. But an unanswered question lingered in her heart. Would they be ready for the challenges that lay ahead? Amidst the laughter and shared stories, she sensed a stirring of the spirit. Something miraculous was whispering just out of sight. What awaited them as they dared to delve deeper into their sacred stories? What divine encounters lay just beyond their steps? The sun climbed higher, casting a golden glow across the vibrant faces gathered in the garden. Emma could feel the energy shifting, like the gentle swell of waves before the tide rushes in. She closed her eyes for a fleeting moment, hoping to capture this intense spirit of hope and anticipation that rippled through her. As the stories poured from one after another, it was as if pieces of a divine puzzle were slowly coming together. Each person drew closer, sharing intimate details of their lives, and in that sharing, they healed. It was a sacred act, an offering of vulnerability where God's love flowed freely. Mrs. Thompson, encouraged by the response to her testimony, continued to share. "I never imagined embracing my grief would open the door to empathy. It allows me to be a pillar for others, just as God has always been for me." The audience nodded, understanding her words at a deep level. Emma marveled at the profound transformation occurring in that garden, how hearts interconnected like the mighty branches of a tree. Every branch, every leaf contributed to the strength of the whole. Next, it was Daniel's turn again, his eagerness sparking joy in the air. "And when I cried, I felt more than just sadness. I felt God's love through my mom. That made me brave. It's like my heart had a little window, and I could let in light. Even when things were hard. When bad things happen, I get to choose how to love. That's what I learned." Exclamations of admiration erupted from the group. Emma couldn't help but smile at the faith exuding from the child's simple, yet profound declaration. She saw his little spirit igniting sparks in others, encouraging them to dig deeper. "Love makes me brave too," another villager exclaimed, her voice rich with emotion. "Sometimes we don't understand why storms come our way, but it's like they clear the path for something beautiful to grow. Each challenge is an invitation to trust him more." As the sun reached its zenith, laughter mingled with tears. The garden felt alive, as if it too rejoiced in their communal faith. Emma's heart warmed as they forged connections, glorifying moments of both struggle and triumph. But the air was thick with a divine expectancy, raising the question, where would this renewed strength lead them? Suddenly a hush fell. Across the garden, an elderly man with a weathered face stepped forward. "I don't share often," he began, his voice trembling but steady. "But there was a time I questioned everything. Sickness nearly took me from my family. I prayed in desperation, and in my darkest hours I felt a miraculous touch. God revealed to me, I am here for a purpose beyond my understanding." The congregation leaned in closer, spellbound by his slow and steady cadence. "He asked me to be a beacon in my family, to show faith in the face of fear. Now, it is my joy to be that guide." His voice rang with conviction, resonating like a powerful chord through the garden. Little ripples of hope surged. Emma felt an urgency rise within her. What if this is not just our stories but a call to action? What if God is preparing us for something greater? Whispers of agreement danced around her, the collective awareness heightening. At that moment a wind stirred, lifting the leaves and carrying with it the fragrance of blooming flowers. It was a gentle reminder. The spirit was stirring, calling them toward a divine convergence. Emma felt her heart race as she recognized this was uncharted territory. "What's our next step?" someone asked, breaking the reverence. Emma didn't have the answer, but deep within she sensed an awakening. It was as if they stood at the threshold of something significant, ready to venture forth. How would they muster the courage to face the stirring winds of destiny? What surprises awaited as they pursued their purpose together? With hearts unified, they were on the cusp of the miraculous. Emma stood in the vibrant garden, the conversations around her swirling like the colors of a magnificent sunset. Each voice was a note in a beautiful symphony of faith, resonating with a truth that was both humbling and illuminating. She took a deep breath, letting the aroma of blooming flowers fill her lungs, and savored the moment, realizing they had journeyed far beyond merely sharing stories. A deep connection was forming, one that would pave the way for something truly extraordinary. Around her, faces shone with light and belonging. The elderly man from before continued to share his heart. "You see, sometimes we think we stand alone, but every whisper of the wind and every rustling leaf remind us we are cradled in his hands." He paused, allowing the weight of his words to settle. "When we come together like this, we become vessels of his love." The crowd murmured in agreement as hope filled the space, bouncing off the warm rays of sunshine that pierced through the trees. A woman stepped forward, her eyes glistening. "I've held on to grudges thinking they protected my heart. But now I understand. Forgiveness is the key that opens the door to new beginnings. In forgiving, I heal too." Her revelation broke like sunshine through clouds, illuminating the faces around her. "Hallelujah!" a voice exclaimed from the back, lifting the spirit even higher. Emma felt it, a holy electricity snapping through the air like the promise of a storm. Daniel clapped his hands, brimming with joy. "And I feel it too. Love grows. When we share, we grow. Isn't that amazing?" His innocence cut through the complexity of adulthood, reminding everyone about the simple truths often clouded by life's hardships. Gradually, the garden transformed into a tapestry of testimonies, each thread woven with the colors of joy, sorrow, courage, and faith. Emma felt a growing intensity amongst them. "What if we took this further?" she dared to ask. "What if our voices became a movement, a call for others who yearn for the light we've found?" A soft chant of approval rippled through the congregation, hearts igniting with the possibility. "Yes, let's shine his light." As laughter and agreement filled the air, a stillness swept over the crowd, the kind that wraps around you like a cool breeze on a warm day. Emma knew they had crossed into a place of decision, a threshold steeped in divine potential. Suddenly, a child's laughter broke the moment. An idea flickered to life as a vision of gatherings spread across fields and towns, where others could find community just like this. Imagine if we gathered others. What if we reached into the heart of our village? What if we invited those in shadows into this light? she suggested, her voice trembling with excitement. Mrs. Thompson's wisdom emerged. And in those gatherings we could listen and share. Always remember, everyone's story matters. We'd be a lighthouse. The fervor intensified. Faces lit up with enthusiasm. We could call it the Gathering of Lights, someone suggested, and the name echoed back as if the garden itself approved of the idea. Yet amidst the exhilaration, Emma felt a veil of uncertainty lurking. But what is the first step? How do we begin? The question hung in the air, heavy yet liberating, the reality of their task dawning on them. The Spirit beckoned them forward, promising to guide, but it was up to them to step into the wild unknown. In that moment, an unexpected stillness enveloped the garden again. A gentle hush descended as if the universe held its breath, waiting. The sun dipped slightly, softening its glow, inviting them to ponder. Are we truly ready for the journey ahead? What magnificent truths lie hidden in our hearts waiting to be discovered? With a heartbeat of divine synchronicity, Emma waited for answers to unfold, grounded in the promise of the path that awaited them. What divine purpose would be revealed as they opened their hearts to new endings and beginnings? In the hush that followed Emma's question, a breeze stirred through the garden, rustling the branches above like whispers of encouragement. Suddenly, a profound stillness fell over the group, as each heart leaned in, eager to uncover what lay beyond their current understanding. Let's pray together, Emma suggested with a gentle urgency. It felt right, the embodiment of their shared faith. Hands reached out, clasped in unity. They formed an unbroken circle, a physical representation of the commitment they were forging together. Lord, guide us, Emma began, her voice steady despite the swell of hope and uncertainty in her chest. Show us the way you desire for us to go. Help us to see with your eyes and love with your heart. As the prayer lifted into the air, an incredible warmth blanketed the garden. It felt like a hug from a long-lost friend, enveloping them in grace. The elderly man who had spoken earlier opened his eyes, a spark of revelation illuminating his features. In that prayer we have sealed our intent, he proclaimed. Together we not only seek his light, but we become vessels for that light. We become the torchbearers of love and forgiveness. Emboldened by his words, someone else chimed in. It's like a ripple effect. We start one small gathering and soon we can touch lives beyond our imagination. Excitement crackled within the group like dry leaves in a fire. Emma felt it, an electric pulse of divine purpose threading through every soul. Yes, and just like water, our compassion can flow into every crack and crevice of our community, she exclaimed. The imagery brought a collective gasp, hearts recognizing the truth in the analogy. As discussions erupted around her, each voice lifted in enthusiasm, Emma noticed Daniel wandering toward a cluster of blooming daisies. His wide-eyed wonder as he gazed at their vibrant yellow petals captured her heart. Look at how they reach for the sun, he called out. We can be like these flowers, shining brightly in the darkness. His simple yet profound observation caused ripples of laughter and reflection. The joy in his voice reminded everyone of their shared journey, finding hope through struggles, together reaching for something greater than themselves. Yet beneath that joy, a thread of deeply seasoned resolve wove its way through Emma's mind. We need to learn the stories of those who might join us. Their struggles are our struggles, their triumphs our triumphs. Her words resonated like chimes in a soft wind, embedding themselves in the hearts of those gathered. We can call it a listening circle, someone shouted, enthusiasm igniting the air again. Together, we'll discover the beauty of each other's stories. The garden buzzed with energy. Each individual began to murmur ideas, gathering in cafes, parks, or community centers, always emphasizing openness, always holding space for listening and love. It was not just about gathering, it was about weaving a patchwork fabric of unity. Then, just as a brilliant thought crossed Emma's mind, she remembered the lingering uncertainty, the question that had initially weighed on them. But what if our voices don't resonate? What if we're met with silence? What if no one comes? Her heart raced. The fear hung in the air, but also a deeper knowing. They had to embrace risk. They had to walk forward, heart open, trusting in his plan. "Remember," the elderly man said softly, as if unraveling a divine mystery. "Even the smallest whisper can ignite a flame. Your voices may be all someone else needs to find their way home." As Emma felt renewed courage swell within her, the sun dipped just a little lower, casting long shadows over their group. Echoing the path ahead was both exciting and unknown, and so they lingered in that moment, caught between fear and faith, the merging of their hopes and dreams together fueling a fervent prayer. What new chapters would this journey write for each of them, and where would their lights take them? With hearts pulsing with anticipation, they ventured forth into the uncharted, eyes set on the horizon. Would they gather enough strength to welcome those waiting in the shadows? What spark might ignite from their humble beginnings together? As the sun began its slow descent, painting the sky with hues of gold and lavender, an overwhelming sense of purpose filled the air. The garden seemed to vibrate with energy, each scent of blooming flowers igniting a passion that transcended everyday concerns. Emma turned to the group, her heart steady with determination. "Let's not forget that every journey begins with a single step. It's time to take that step together." Her voice rang with assurance, drawing everyone close once more. A hushed anticipation blanketed the group as they nodded in agreement. What was once a gathering of timid hearts was transforming into a collective spirit, ready to reach outward. "I think we should start with our own stories," someone suggested. "Sharing where we've been will help us understand where we're going." The words were met with murmurs of agreement. Stories had a way of unearthing shared experiences and truths that lay beneath the surface of their lives. Daniel returned to Emma's side, his cheeks flushed with excitement. "I want to tell my story too. I've had moments when I didn't know what to do or where to turn, but those moments, they brought me here." His enthusiasm was infectious, causing smiles to ripple through the group. "Yes, that's it," Emma responded, feeling a shiver of inspiration course through her. "Our lives are testimonies of his goodness. They reflect the light that guides us through darkness." In that moment, as glimmers of hope bloomed around them, the elderly man offered a warm smile. "In our vulnerability lies great strength. To share our wounds is to allow others to heal with us." Emma's heart quickened at the idea. She envisioned small circles of warmth gathered in the coziness of living rooms, parks, and cafes, sharing laughter and tears, settings where friendships could bloom. Every story would weave into the fabric of their community, stitching together hearts once alone. "But how will we know who needs us?" Daniel asked, his innocence revealing a deeper concern. A silence fell among them, the air thick with contemplation. Emma felt a gentle nudge in her spirit, like a whisper reminding her of the path ahead. We must be willing to step out beyond our own comfort. The voices that are silent could be waiting on just one invitation to share. "This is what faith requires," the elderly man interjected, his voice steady. "Imagining the unseen, believing we are all connected beyond what we see in front of us." A thrill ran through Emma as she pondered this. The idea of connecting with the unseen, a beautiful mystery, ignited a spark of adventure in her heart. What if we create a simple flyer to invite anyone interested? Let our hearts be loud enough for them to hear. She paused, letting the thought settle. What might happen if one voice became two and then four? The group's energy bubbled over as they began to brainstorm, engulfed in shared excitement. It was the first tangible step into the unknown, a leap fueled by faith rather than fear. As dusk settled softly around them, the sky's brightness faded, ushering in a gentle twilight. Emma took a deep breath, her heart whispering a quiet prayer of gratitude. Amid the laughter and chatter, she sensed something deeper shifting in her. A realization that they would not just invite others to share their stories, they would let people know they were never alone. The garden, once a reflective space, now pulsed with purpose and mission. And then she spoke again, her voice softened by the weight of newfound conviction. What if we are meant to do more than listen? What if this becomes a movement, a chance for transformation in our whole community? Excitement danced in the air again, but beneath it, a collective wonder stirred, a question that sat with them now. What would it take to truly change their surroundings? Could they be the heartbeat of revival in a world so often sidelined and unheard? As they gazed into the gathering darkness, it felt as if they stood at the brink of divine revelation. Feeling the weight of the moment, Emma paused. Her heart opened to whatever might come next. What hidden truths awaited them beyond the boundaries of their small gathering? The bond among them was palpable, and each soul was poised for the journey ahead. Where would the next step lead them, and what miraculous connections awaited in the uncharted waters of faith? The dusk deepened around them, and the garden became an intimate sanctuary of hearts and hopes. Emma looked at each friend, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the fading light. She could feel the collective heartbeat, a rhythm of faith echoing in their hearts. A quiet wave of anticipation washed over her, urging her onward, deeper into the moment. "Okay, let's do this," she said, her voice steady yet infused with excitement. "Let's commit to gathering next week. We can bring food, share stories, and probably some laughter. What if we let everyone know they matter? That they are heard?" "Yes, that's the spirit," came a voice from the back, a ripple of agreement spreading through the group. Daniel bounced on his toes, his youthful energy contagious. "I can help with the flyers. I'm good at drawing and making things look pretty. People will want to come if it looks nice." His eagerness was a spark, igniting smiles and ideas in the hearts around him. "Art can express what words sometimes cannot," Emma remarked, feeling the warmth of Daniel's passion. "Let's let his love pour from every detail." As they began to bounce ideas off one another, Emma marveled at the transformation unfolding before her eyes. Each person offered a piece of themselves, and together, they formed something beautiful. It reminded her of the miracle of the loaves and fishes, where abundance blossomed out of scarcity. "Are we actually doing this?" she whispered to herself, almost laughing at the audacity of their plan. But beneath her laughter lay a well of seriousness. Would they be ready for what came next? There was a leap of faith here, one that stirred something deep within. It wasn't simply about gathering. No, it was about recognizing the sacred value of each individual soul. As the shadows lengthened, Emma felt a pull, the kind that signified a deeper call. What if we opened up a space for prayer too? Not just for those who come, but for our community as a whole. A hushed silence filled the circle as her words sank in. The elderly man, his eyes shining brightly, leaned forward. "Prayer is the heartbeat of this movement. It's where the real transformation begins. With prayer, we make room for the Holy Spirit to work." His words hung in the air, thick with possibility and promise. Emma could almost see the threads of prayer weaving tighter as she envisioned nights filled with intentional supplication, lifting up the broken, the lost, all resting in God's presence. What if our little gathering could ripple outwards? A joyful noise across the neighborhoods, she mused, her heart swelling with divine expectation. What if those who feel lost can find a home in our stories? Yes, and together we can reach those beyond our circle, Daniel exclaimed, his eyes alight with inspiration. We can share the stories of our journeys, showing that we all belong. The energy was palpable. Hope flickered like candlelight, illuminating aspirations that had long dwelled in the shadows. They envisioned paths to reach others, the hesitant and the weary, those just waiting for an invitation. Emma could feel her spirit soar. This was exactly what he had called them to do. With their minds racing and hearts thumping, they began to map out plans, visions tangling with the evening air. Each suggestion sparked new ideas, a heavenly chorus of shared purpose igniting them purely and completely. As night blanketed the sky, Emma paused to take it all in. The chorus of voices filled her with warmth, a sense of belonging she'd long craved. But there was one question still lingering in her spirit. What challenges awaited them in this brave new venture? What shadows might they illuminate, and at what cost? In the depths of the gathering dusk, she felt the urge to lead them in prayer. Together they could ask for guidance, for wisdom, and for the courage to step boldly into the unknown. ready to embrace whatever might unfold. The moment promised to be transformative, but Emma could sense it wouldn't end here. This was only the beginning. As they prepared to pray, the garden pulses with energy, a living promise, terrestrial fears mingling with sacred hope. Would their stories truly weave a tapestry that would change hearts? The night awaited an answer, and with it came the unmistakable whisper of destiny. What miraculous transformation lay in the uncharted mystery that awaited them? As the final flickers of daylight gave way to a tapestry of stars, Emma gathered her friends close, the atmosphere thick with expectancy. Facing them, she began softly, "Let's open our hearts in prayer. May we invite His presence into our plans." Hands joined, fingers interlaced, they formed a circle. Emma's voice trembled slightly as she prayed, her heart laid bare. "Lord, we come to you with open minds and willing spirits. Guide us as we embark on this journey together. Teach us to love those who feel unseen." Around the circle they echoed her words, their voices weaving a melody of faith. Emma felt the warmth of their prayers rising to meet the heavens. In that sacred moment, an unmistakable peace flooded the garden, brushing against their skin like a gentle breeze. It was as if the very air resonated with divine affirmation. As they prayed, colors of hope illuminated the night, wrapping them in a cocoon of light that seemed to shine from within. "Lord, give us courage," whispered one of the women, her eyes closed tight. "Let our hearts be bold enough to welcome all. We want to reach those in need." An unanticipated response arose within Emma. Her spirit stirred, mirroring the vibrant colors of the sunset they had just left behind. The silhouette of the garden seemed to dance as if enveloped in sacred energy. The elderly man spoke again, his voice like honey, rich with wisdom. "Prayer is a bridge, dear friends. It crosses rivers of doubt and builds pathways of love. Let us not just be hearers of the word, but doers." His words sank deeply into the gathering, igniting a fervor. They sensed the weight of that call, an invitation to act. As they opened their eyes, the garden transformed, shadows fading, replaced by a luminescence that felt almost alive. Daniel, still buzzing with excitement, raised his hand. "What if we share the stories of our struggles? How God turned our doubt into testimony?" "Yes," Emma cried, her heart swelling. "And in sharing, we'll celebrate the divine moments. Each story a thread, shaping the beautiful tapestry He's weaving." With every passing suggestion, they began to see their ideas crystallize, each one a ripple radiating outward. The chatter intensified, overlapping with laughter as ideas bounced from friend to friend. They envisioned games to lure children, meals that would nourish the body and spirit, music that would make joy palpable. But just when hope seemed to surge uncontrollably, a shadow darted across Emma's heart. A gnawing doubt whispered, "Can you really do this? Will they come? Will they understand the love you offer?" With resolve, she pushed the insecurities aside, recalling the essence of their gathering, the grace shared, the love expressed. "Let's remind each other of why we are doing this," she declared, grounding herself amid swirling thoughts. "We're not just building an event, we're inviting souls to encounter His love." A quiet hush fell over the group again. Their faces turned toward her, reflected determination shimmering in their eyes. In shared vulnerability, they faced both fear and hope together. As they brainstormed late into the night, Emma could barely keep up with her friends. She felt the momentum build. This wasn't simply about their gathering, but more like an unfolding of something grand. They were becoming part of a greater story, one written by the hand of the Creator. The night air shimmered around them, and the stars overhead bore witness to their faith-fueled determination. Yet, despite their enthusiasm and the momentum, an unsettling question lingered. What would happen when they stepped outside the safety of their circle? Would they face resistance or perhaps misunderstandings? As dawn's soft light began to spill over the horizon, Emma realized their gathering was merely the first chapter of a much larger narrative. She felt a holy curiosity brewing within her. What divine encounters awaited them as they laid their plans bare to the world? The earth was stirring, and with it came opportunity. What awaited them just beyond the threshold of their plans? Would bravery shine a light through the shadows of uncertainty? Would they undertake this mission of love with the strength and spirit required? The answers shimmered in the beckoning dawn, shimmering with possibilities yet uncovered. As the sun broke over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold, Emma felt a surge of anticipation ripple through her. Gone were the shadows of doubt, replaced by a radiant hope burning bright within the hearts of those gathered. The garden, once a place of quiet reflection, was now a hub of spirited energy, buzzing with ideas and dreams. That morning marked a sacred shift, a calling that transcended their individual struggles. Emma stood amidst her friends, their laughter and chatter mingling with the gentle rustle of leaves. They were ready to embrace the unfolding journey, ready to invite their community into a new life, one woven together by love and understanding. With determination etched on her face, Emma began, "Today we embark on something beautiful. We will not only share our stories, but we will also create a space where others can feel seen, heard, and loved. Together, we will plant seeds of hope throughout Willowbrook." "Amen," came a chorus of voices in response, their confidence growing as each heartfelt word from Emma reached deep into their souls. And so the planning commenced. Each idea unfurled like petals in the morning sun, brightening the space around them. From potlucks to story circles to prayer gatherings, the mere thought of it ignited excitement. Daniel leaned forward, brimming with energy, explaining how interactive art projects could draw in children, creating a haven where laughter intermingled with prayer, a divine tapestry of community strength. As Emma looked around, she saw how each person's vulnerability transformed into a collective courage, drawing upon their experiences of struggle and triumph. Together, they were moving toward a beautiful manifestation of faith, urging each other to step into the light, to extend their hands to the lost ones just waiting for a beacon. But as ideas soared, a solemn moment hung in the air when Mrs. Thompson, ever wise, broke the joyful buzz. "My dear friends, we must remember that this journey may not always be easy. There will be trials, and we might face skepticism." The air thickened as murmurs of agreement swept the group, a recognition of both risk and reward. "Yet through those trials we will grow even stronger," Emma asserted, meeting their eyes with fierce determination. "God wouldn't call us here if he didn't trust us to shine his light, even in the darkest corners, and we will do so together." The fire within them ignited anew as they envisioned gathering with their neighbors. They saw faces participating, sharing burdens and blessings, fostering bonds that once felt fragile. It was more than mere outreach. It was communion, a sacred promise to walk together, faithful and true. "Let's prepare a handout, highlighting our first gathering, all the love and truth we plan to share," someone shouted, and together they rallied, laughter mixing with purposeful action. As the day unfolded, they spent hours crafting the designs and words that would adorn their flyers. Soon their hearts merged into one singular mission: to bridge the divide, to create a sanctuary where stories could be shared and love reignited. So it came to pass that the moment finally arrived, the first gathering of light in Willowbrook. Emma stood at the heart of the garden once filled with mere dreams, now bustling with anticipation. The community came alive, intertwining with a lively mosaic of familiar and new faces, each holding their own story, but now united. As evening settled onto the village, a soft glow emanated from St. Andrew's Chapel, illuminating the way for all who would take that leap. The sound of eager voices filled the air, every whisper of hope rippling softly, echoing through the paths of their hearts. The garden overflowed with love, laughter intertwining with prayer, as they embraced one another in divine fellowship. And in that moment they realized, the true miracle wasn't merely in the stories shared or the burdens lifted. It was the presence of God among them, weaving a rich tapestry of community through each heart. Emma's spirit soared at the sight of vulnerability and truth unfurling, illuminating the way to healing and connection. As the night deepened, the gathering transformed into a sacred celebration of faith, the villagers joining together in songs of gratitude that danced through the moonlit air. They sang praises for every struggle turned testimony, every heart unified in pursuit of purpose. "What if this is just the beginning?" someone whispered, voice tinged with wonder. "Yes," Emma exclaimed, her heart overflowing. "This is the moment where we begin to walk together and shine brighter. We are called to uplift each other, inviting more souls into the light." And as the final notes of their songs faded into the night, Emma looked around. The faces, each one glowing with glimmers of divine purpose, reminded her that they were truly on a journey crafted by the Creator. They looked toward the horizon, ready to face whatever awaited them, emboldened by love, fierce hope, and the knowledge that their stories intertwined purposefully in the grand narrative of faith. In that moment, she realized this was their transformation. Their challenges had birthed connections, and the collective embrace of vulnerability was its own kind of miracle. Time stood still, and in the quiet of it all, a profound understanding blossomed. They were never alone. They had each other, their hearts forever bound by faith, and it was all beautiful. Now, beloved friends, hear me. This is your moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help this divine message spread. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this impactful ending. And remember, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this miraculous manifestation. Only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let's spread this light together.